eagle slows up in the sky. Pretty soon you'll learn to fly. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano blows. Your mic will quickly say to me, Mon, you better watch your feet. Lava come down soft and hot. You're loving me now or loving me not. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano comes. Oh, no time to count for what it's worth. 'Cause I just left this planet Earth. Where I go, I hope there's rum. I know there's gonna be a lot on the island tomorrow. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano blows. Well, I don't wanna land in New York City. I wanna land in no Mexico. Don't wanna land in no Three Mile Island. Don't wanna see my skin afloat. Don't wanna land in Comanche, Skyport, or in Nashville, Tennessee. Don't wanna land in no San Juan Airport or the Yukon Territory. Don't wanna land in no San Diego. Don't wanna land in no Buzzards Bay. Don't wanna land in no Iota. I got nothing more to say. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano blows. No, 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 no.
Hey everybody, happy Thursday night. It's Wes Seiler with Preserve Navarre Live, and we've got Commissioner Ray Eddington in the house. Ray, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you for asking me.
Absolutely, man. I'm so excited to do this. We were talking just before we went live how much this is needed, you know, like just a chance to hang out. This is a very relaxed show. We get just to talk about the different people that make Navarre what it is. And you and I have been talking about doing this for a while, actually, several
sure.
weeks, over a month, I think. And just getting the timing and the schedule to work out is awesome. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So we're going to be talking about Ray's background and where he came from and, you know, his experiences being a county commissioner for the past 2 years. Talk about some of the projects that you're doing. That's going to be great. It's a live show. So it looks like about 7 or 8 people are already jumped on. So let me know if the sound is good. Let me know if the picture's coming in through. The best part of this show, Ray, is that when people are watching live, they can comment. And once they comment, I can see it. So it looks like Tom just jumped in. Tom said, nice lights and sound. Good job, guys. So Tom's one of the sponsors for the show. We got a handful of locals that make this happen. So I appreciate that. We're going to talk about, Tom, we're going to talk about, you know, who makes this happen. It's definitely not me. I have a lot of help, Ray. This is not my day job. So I'm learning how to do it myself. But we're having fun with this thing. And like you and I talked about just a few minutes ago, this is much needed in our community. A chance
Right.
for people just to get together and see the value in other folks. So I'm excited for that, man. All right, looks like sound is good. We got about 10, 12 people that are on, so that's going to be great. So I mentioned some of the sponsors that make this show possible, and I always like to give them a shout out before we get started. One is Tom, so he already jumped on. He and his wife Helen, they run a shop called the Panhandle Shop, where they do these beautiful designs for American flags. So there's a whole bunch of other woodworking and things like that. We've got one of them here in the studio, but I love these guys. And what they'll do is they'll customize this. They'll put somebody's name on the back. Sometimes they can put like Air Force flags or Army flags, Marines, whatever. For you, maybe a Tennessee flag. I don't know what you want on there. Like they can do just about anything on the side of it or whatever. But they do this beautiful woodworking. And it's always exciting to see that, to see their projects going. They got a Facebook page, but that's their email right there. So if you're looking for a gift to give somebody, I know we've got a bunch of holidays coming up with Mother's Day, Father's Day, all that kind of stuff, birthdays, things like that. That's a great one. For the military, we use this a lot. These kind of gifts are perfect for someone whenever they're moving to a new assignment and stuff like that. So love those guys. So it's like Randy's on. He says, good evening, Wes and Commissioner Eddington. Good to see you, Randy. We were just talking earlier today. So another great guy that helps us out. Another sponsor for this show is the Veterans Treatment Court charity. It's the charity that's associated with this initiative called Friends of the Veterans Treatment Court. And you know a thing or two about this because I know Carmen's worked with you on a couple projects. But this is an initiative in our county to bring a veterans treatment court. The other counties in the area, most of them have one of these things. We don't in Santa Rosa County. And this is an initiative so that veterans who are struggling, especially if they've made mistakes in their life that run into the law, this gives them some specific focused treatment so that we can figure out what's going on and see if it's service related and try to get them some help. So a lot of the military folks go through very different experiences and on the civilian side and making sure that we're doing what's right for the people who served.
Right.
Yeah, that's an amazing initiative that Carmen's doing. So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can talk to this guy right here. You can also email the team because Carmen's got a whole team now that's working on it. That's the Gmail right there that she's listed.
I believe
Yeah.
Sheriff Johnson.
Sheriff Johnson's
on
part of
board
it.
with that.
Yeah, I think the latest I heard is that they want the deputies to get involved in
Right.
this, right?
Yes.
Because a huge part of it is with a veteran, you know that at one point this person was a functioning member of society who was contributing. They were healthy, right? They went through all the physicals and screening to be in the service, and the goal is to get them back to that place or nearabouts, right? And so making sure they serve their time if they've done something wrong, and then getting them a job right in the community. Yeah, and so I think they're trying to get with the sheriffs and stuff, badges and things that they can wear.
Yes.
Saying, hey, we support the Veterans Treatment Court. Great thing. So especially in our community, which,
It's
as
a
you
good
know,
thing for the military.
yeah,
people.
so many military people, or so many veterans and all that stuff.
There's a
and,
bunch here in this county,
yeah,
and
there really
Navarre is covered with them.
yeah, absolutely. And this is one of those things that you may not think about. You know, like we know about the VA, people know about a lot of like the American Legion's amazing here. There's Veterans of Fallen, there's a lot of groups like that. What about the folks that found themselves in a tough spot? I mean, and I talk to veterans every day. I'm in a bunch of these groups, and a lot of them, I mean, they've been going hard for 20, sometimes 30 years.
Right.
And then you come out of that, and it's like, okay, now what do I do? You know, like
Right, yes.
you've lost kind of the friendships and the team-centered
They
approach.
don't know what to do.
Yeah, and so they can find themselves in a tough spot, and this helps with that. So if they find themselves there, I love that, and I love Carmen's heart for this community. She does so many cool things. So she helps us out with this show. Another one, Chaz is amazing. This is a publicist, okay, who's been running around Navarre just helping every business that he can. Very involved in the chamber. He's the one who's going to help me with the lights. So Tom, you were mentioning the lights and how you like them. You can directly thank Chaz for that, and he works with Carmen on a lot of initiatives together. But he's helping us like publicist folks, people that don't know all the things about media and all that stuff.
Right.
He's like, hey, Wes, you got to put the camera here and put the mic there and all that stuff. So, and he's not just doing that for us. He's doing that for everybody.
Right.
He's like helping people market their events and all kinds of great stuff. So he's another one who helps us out. But we kind of mentioned it. You talked about the military folks, and most people know that about our county, and that's a huge part of what makes it what it is. But one of the things that I've noticed, Ray, doing this show the past few months is just how many people are doing and have done incredible things, both military and civilian. I mean, every day I'm finding new folks who have stories to tell that I've never heard before.
Well, when I moved here,
Yeah,
my neighborhood, I cut grass. 11 different families I cut grass for.
yeah,
And I had people say, how much you making? I didn't make nothing because
Yeah.
the way I look at it, I was paying them back because their husband
yeah,
was serving the country for us.
Yeah.
And it's freedom for us.
yeah,
And that's how I paid them back.
yeah.
I cut them 11 yards every week.
That's awesome, man.
Weed eat, blow, I trim, I done it all.
I
made their yard
should have
look
called
nice.
you up when I was gone last year.
Hey, I would have come and cut it.
I think we hired a high schooler.
We worked hard in my neighborhood.
Yeah. But that's Navarre, right? Like that's
That's
what
it.
makes this place so wonderful.
We
is
all got to
people
work
like that.
together
Yeah,
to make it happen.
yeah,
If we don't work together, it's not good.
Right.
We'll go south
right.
real
right.
quick. We got to work together and
Right.
make something out of this community.
Yeah, and everybody's got a different role in that, right? And everybody's got different experiences that contribute to it, right? And that's what I've seen. Is so like this is kind of my like intro into local heroes of Navarre. We've got NFL players, we've got war heroes, we've got entrepreneurs. That's a huge part that people overlook. And then I see like just incredible business folks who are
Right.
doing innovative things in healthcare. People that are doing things in terms of coaching. We'll talk about Elizabeth here in a second. I mentioned Chaz with publicity. I mean, when you think about the thousands and thousands of people that live in this community, right, and just all of the different diverse experiences, it's incredible, man. And a lot of people wouldn't know. You know, you drive through and everybody's just looking at the beach, and that's a huge part of it. But they can blow right by some of the people that are incredible. So here's an update for you, and I think we were talking about this because we're both football fans. But this guy, Jordan Jefferson from LSU, so this is the tackle, not the quarterback, the tackle. He graduated from Navarre High.
School.
Played for LSU, which, you know, I think both of you and I are kind of sad about. I wish he'd gone to Alabama. You probably wish he went to Tennessee. But still did a great job, and now he's been drafted by the Jaguars. So coming home to Florida to go play for the Jaguars out there in Jacksonville, I think is where they're at. But isn't that incredible to see people right down the street at Navarre High getting to this level where they are playing at the absolute pinnacle of the sport?
We've had more than just one here out of Navarre High School.
We have, yes, absolutely.
Navarre High School is a good school, and they have put out some good sports players, and that's good for us.
Yeah.
We've had quite a few in Navarre.
Yeah, I love that because, I mean, you just think about that for many reasons. One, for the kids that are growing up here, right? Like, I got kids growing up here to be able to say, hey, whatever profession you look at, you know, if my kids join the military or not, if they play sports or maybe they get into the arts, whatever.
Right.
Navarre is a place that produces top of the line folks. You have the potential to achieve the American dream here to make it as high as you want to go, right?
Correct.
People from Navarre have that capability, right? So cool to see.
It takes good teachers and coaches
Absolutely.
to get them there.
Absolutely.
And Navarre High has got the best coaches, teachers, principal you could ever ask for.
Yeah.
They are great.
So that was a huge part, and I know we're going to get into some of this later because we're both group in Tennessee. But for me, that was a huge draw to Florida, was the school system, because everything kind of changes once you have kids, right? Because now you're thinking not just what's best for me, but what's best for my kids, right? What's the best school system around? Me, I wanted to, you know, raise my kids in the South. I'm a Southern boy, always grew up here. But I said, hey, I want a really good school system. And when I start looking at Santa Rosa County and this area in the Panhandle, I see stuff like this. I see academics, right? Like, I'm like, okay, we can do this in Florida. We can make this work.
Well, you know, I'm a Tennessee boy.
Yeah.
Proud to be a Tennessee boy.
Yeah.
My wife was born in Florida. She wanted to come back home.
Yeah.
And we vacationed down here quite a bit, here in Daytona, and we loved it here, and that's why we moved here.
Yeah.
And I lived in Tennessee for 64 years.
Yeah.
But she wanted to come back home.
Yeah.
I packed up and come home.
See, for my wife, she was from New England. And so this was all new to her, right? Like, so she knew what it was like to live near the ocean and Cape Cod and stuff like that in Massachusetts and New Hampshire and all that. And she understood the live free or die, right? Like the more conservative areas. She was all about that. But she had never been down this area. Like, it was totally new. And I'll never forget, because once we drove over that bridge, because I had been here many times before, we drove over that bridge. She was like, oh, wow. And she fell in love. And I was like, here we go, right? Like, she found this space and all that stuff. So, but amazing to see people like that in Navarre. And like, and that's the thing, Ray, is I love doing this show. That's what it's about. You know, we were talking about that too before we went live. For me, this is my favorite part, you know, of doing the Preserve Navarre stuff. This is just a chance to celebrate these kind of folks. I love it. One more, and then we'll move on. But absolutely have to mention Elizabeth Kurz. So I had her on the show last week. We try to have a guest every week because there's that many people to celebrate Navarre for sure and more. This was a lady who was on the Shark Tank show. So I don't know what you and your wife like to watch on TV, but this is one of my family's favorite shows, where it's a bunch of these real famous business folks, and they look at new products and initiatives. You know what I'm talking about? So
we watch it.
Yeah, so she was on this thing just a little while ago, and that's her kid and all that stuff, and she was helping her friend as they were promoting this new product that helps you when you're traveling with kids so they can get some rest and sleep and all that stuff. And I watched the whole segment of when they proposed this. And at first it was like, oh man, are they going to get a deal or are they going to get shot down? And at the very end, boom, they nailed the deal and she helped her friend get there. Really, really cool. So amazing to see people, again, doing all kinds of cool stuff that affects the entire country. She's doing this in Navarre. And she gave us a little taste last week of personal coaching for both business professionals, for leaders, could be for government entities, any type of team, could be for sports. But she has this amazing way of working through, okay, what's happening at the subconscious level when you make these decisions in your life, when you put this team together, thinking through several layers deep in terms of what you're trying to achieve and how you're communicating with people. And so we did that for like 20 minutes. She kind of broke down for me, how do you maintain a positive mindset? And I know with your job, man, that's a challenge, right? Because you got people calling your phone every single day, right?
Every day.
Yeah.
It don't stop.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I don't envy you, man. But one of the things that she does is she works through, okay, cool. If this is what you're confronted with, how do you work on focusing on a positive mindset in spite of that, right? Where do you go? What do you do? How do you approach your job? And I know in the military, that's a huge part. You mentioned deployed folks. One of the hardest things, Ray, is getting out there overseas, and you got 6 months, sometimes longer, before you see your family. And you can sit there and say, I'm not going to see my wife and kids for 6 months. This is going to be awful, right? And I'm just going to be miserable the whole time and just kind of sulk and say, why me? Or you can sit here and start counting the days down, right? Start getting excited. Start planning what you're going to do when you get home, staying in touch with them, writing letters, doing video chats, all that kind of stuff, and say, hey, we can do this, family, right? And it's that mindset, because then it spreads, right? If you, like for me, my wife having a positive mindset, hey, we're going to do this while you're gone. We're going to go to the water park and do this, that, the other. We're going to go see my family, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit these weightlift goals. That positive mindset, it spreads. You know what I mean?
It does.
And man, you just demonstrated it when you talk about cutting grass, right? You can sit there and say, hey, I'm sorry your husband's gone. That's tough, or your wife's gone, and that's rough. And people kind of used to that, and hey, I appreciate it. When you go the step further, right, it's like, hey, man, like this community cares about me.
Yep.
Yeah, fostering that positive. So she helps with that. She'd be the kind of person, I think, who would think about what you're doing and say, Ray's out there spreading a positive mindset. He's an optimist. He's doing good work, and it's contagious. So Randy says, so again, I see all these comments live. He says, it's very refreshing to have a common sense commissioner like Mr. Eddington. He also mentioned Carrie Smith. I totally agree with that, and that's one of the reasons I'm excited to talk to you, Ray, because we've had many conversations. But we got to talk about this place first. So we got to talk about background, right? We got to hit where you came from, because I always love to do this. I always love to kind of flesh out where people came from, because people who are local and grew up local, they have a perspective about Navarre. They've seen a lot of changes, things like that. But then people who come from other parts of the country, hey, you're a local now too, right? And you've got a whole different perspective. So tell us about this place, because I found that picture and I think you like it. Chattanooga. All right. So tell me about Chattanooga. What was it like growing up in Chattanooga? How's it compared to Florida, living here?
It was different.
How so?
We got mountains up there.
Sure.
We're flat down here. And up there where I lived at, everybody waved at everybody.
Yeah.
We'd always speak.
Yeah.
No matter what. I enjoyed waving and speaking to people.
Yeah.
I still talk to people.
Sure.
Today. But when I come out of high school, I went to work in a foundry.
Yeah.
Well, me and my friend went to sign up for the military.
Yeah.
We don't do a buddy system.
Right.
Well, we got there to sign up, and they told us they don't do the buddy system no more.
Right.
And we said, sir, y'all was just at the school 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, we cut it out. Well, we decided not to go.
Okay.
I said, Bobby, that's his name. I said, I'm going to find me a job.
Yeah.
And I went, found me a job.
Yeah.
My buddy called me. He said, hey, I went back and I've signed up. Come on. I said, I've already got a job and I start in the morning.
Yeah.
And I worked in a foundry.
Yeah.
And I shoveled sand on third shift. People think back them days was a lot of money, $3.32 an hour shoveling sand.
Wow.
For 8 hours a day.
That's crazy.
And,
wow. Yeah.
I got out of the basement, moved upstairs on day shift, started pouring iron, become a supervisor. A friend of mine said, hey, I'll get you a job with the sheriff department.
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't want to do that. Well, a state. I said, I don't want to do that. They just paid $10 an hour for a state trooper.
Right.
And you didn't have a backup in a long way.
Right.
But I did become a reserve officer with Chattanooga and still worked at the foundry. Then I left the foundry. I went over to the airport and worked for a while, part-time, driving a truck for them. And a buddy of mine said, hey, I got you a job at the sheriff department as a reserve officer. It pays more in the city. Okay, I'll do that. More money. And then I went to work with the 911 center dispatching on the command post. And when I left there, I was a chief for 15 years.
Okay.
But I worked my way all the way up from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
And I love my director I had. People got mad at me and said, why do you get everything you want for command posts and 911 and stuff? Well, you don't go and ask for everything.
Uh-huh.
You always figure out what you really need the worst,
Right.
and you go and ask for one thing.
Right.
And usually you get it.
Yeah.
They
A focus strategy. Yep.
They think the county got all this money and they just can buy everything, but they don't.
Right.
They got a budget just like everybody else.
So what I'm hearing is, you know, you learned a lot of the lessons that you're applying again
Right.
here in Navarre and Santa Rosa County
Yes.
from that experience. Yeah.
A lot of it come from there. I had a great teacher.
Yeah.
He's the one who taught me about the open door policy.
Yeah.
And that's what I got here.
Yeah.
I try to talk to everybody I can. I can't promise you nothing, but I will listen.
Yeah.
And before I make a decision, I try to go back and study and do my research before I
Yeah.
make that call. Sometimes it might be bad, and sometimes it's good.
One of the things I'm thinking about too is I had Robert Reyes on the show a few weeks ago, and one of the things he and I talked about was making the transition from military to civilian work. And there's some things that carry over. You know, in the
Right.
military, you build teamwork. In the civilian world, you build teamwork. But there's other stuff that's totally different on the civilian side. And I
Yes.
think the same thing holds for local government,
Right.
right? It's like you can take somebody military, stick them into a county commissioner seat, and they're going to bring some good lessons. But there's also some stuff that I bet that you learned during that maybe a military person may not have experienced the
That's
same
true.
way. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So what else, you know, in terms of your experience there have
Well,
helped?
the classes I'm going to now,
Yeah.
that was one thing. My last class, the last day was about being team,
Yeah,
making the team work together.
right.
And that's what we need to do here.
Absolutely.
But we all need to work together from A to Z or whatever.
Yeah,
We all got to sit down and talk and be nice to each other and,
Sure.
and work this stuff out.
yeah. And so one of the things that you talked about was in Chattanooga kind of had that small town feel.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So for me, that was a huge draw for Navarre as well, because I grew up in Memphis. So other side, we didn't have, and I think I got a picture here. We didn't have that in Memphis. Okay, like
That's Rock
in
City.
Memphis, we got the pyramid, and then it's just flat. It's the other side of
Right.
the state. So you guys got the beautiful stuff in Eastern Tennessee.
Well, that's on the
Yeah.
Georgia side.
Oh, is it
That's
okay?
not
Got
on the
it.
Tennessee side.
Got it. So right
That's
there
on
on
the
the
Georgia-
line.
right.
Yeah.
That's what they call Rock City.
Yeah. So we had Arkansas Springs, Hot Springs, stuff like that we traveled to, but nothing quite like that. But what we did have in Memphis was that small town feel. It was in pockets, you know, in the suburbs
Right.
and things like that. But I remember having kind of like that southern, or we just go out, you know, and then we just go camping or whatever. Or we just go to somebody's house and hang out and just talk for hours, sit on each other's trucks, listening to country music. You know, like that's how I grew up, and I remember wanting that for my wife and I, you know, and
Right.
for our family. And that was a huge part of our draw to Navarre. Is I said, hey, like, of course we love the beach. I used to run down here all the time when I was in high school and college and stuff like that, and come hang out. And I wanted to be near the beach, but I also wanted a community. Right? Because that's what I grew up in. I wanted my kids to be, you know, rooted in their school and their church and all that stuff. And I'm excited that Navarre has that. But
They
it takes
do.
work.
It
It
does.
takes work to do it. So,
My neighborhood is
Yeah.
about like where I lived at, a neighborhood.
Yeah.
We all know each other,
right,
and we work together and try to help each other.
right.
That's
Absolutely.
what it's all about.
One of the things so for me, for Tennessee, I still go back a couple times a year. Here's a picture. I was actually up your way on Eastern Tennessee. Like, to get away and think, my wife took this picture kind of as a joke, but like that's where we were just a month ago, hanging out there with my cousins and my brother and
I can
his
tell you
family.
exactly where that is.
Yeah, out there in Gatlinburg and Sevierville. It's beautiful. And like I used to come to the beach for that kind of getaway. And what I learned is you're not going to find a prettier beach than Navarre, right? Like, so in terms of beach, we got it.
Right.
So I get, you know, maybe a weekend away here or there to get up there in the mountains and the trees and to get away. And sometimes just to kind of refresh myself and, you know, get that positive mindset you're talking about, you know, to come in refreshed. So I still love going back, but I love it here more. So me and your wife probably agree on that one right there. That's my kids up there hanging out, enjoying that part. But I always tell my kids, I'm like, I used to vacation in the place that you call home, you know,
Right.
and now we vacation in the place that I called home. So we flipped it. But so you moved here, and what year was that you moved?
2018.
2018. So probably about a year or so after me. So around the same spot. You've had this experience in Chattanooga, right?
Yes.
Like a bunch of lessons learned. Had a family, the whole thing. And how do you go from moving here and leaving that place that you've been at for so many years and grew up in to now all of a sudden you're commissioner hanging out with the governor and doing politics and all this stuff? What was that 4 or 5 year progression for you like?
I thought it would be pretty hard,
Yeah,
but you have to really care about your wife to make that move.
that's right. She's the boss. Yeah.
Well, sometimes.
Uh-huh.
But I lived in Chattanooga for 64 years.
Yeah.
I was born and raised there,
Yeah.
and that's how I know.
Yeah. It must have been hard to.
And she's
make that
when
change.
she said she'd retire, she'd like to come back home.
Yeah.
And we sold her home, and we
Yeah.
moved here.
Yeah.
We bought property here in 2014. It flooded, and we sold it. It was in Holly by the sea.
Uh-huh.
And we bought property in Holly where we are today. And it took 3.5, almost 4 years to get our home built.
Yeah.
But we love it.
Yeah. And Holly has like its own culture. That was something that I learned very quickly moving here. It's a little bit separate than the rest of Navarre.
is.
They got a lot of history that they're proud
Holly
of.
is old people there that been here for years.
Right. Yeah.
And I have met a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's super nice.
Yeah.
They took me in just like I'm one of them.
Right.
And I can talk to any of them. They've been super nice.
Yeah.
And they talk about things I've done, and they tickle to death.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I can help.
Yeah.
What I'm doing.
And that's a huge part of it too, because I really think, Ray, that a lot of people underestimate it, right? Your experience, but also who you are as a person. Because they think, hey, it's the signs that do this or social media, all that stuff. No, it's trust.
Yep.
It's the handshake, It's taking the time to listen to people. I remember I was like, this guy's going someplace. I remember calling you at one point, and you were like, I'm going to knock on 100 doors a day and talk to at least 10 people. I was like, why? Because it's Saturday? No, every day that I can, Wes. Like, I was like, holy smokes, this guy's for real. And that's what works. That's what works. Is
I walked
earning
and
that
knocked, I walked
relationship.
and knocked on doors for 18 months.
That's unbelievable, right? Yeah.
The last day I didn't walk, but my mother-in-law lived with us.
Yeah.
My wife moved her in. She had
Yeah.
health problems. And I was going out to knock on doors that day, and she asked me not to go.
Right.
My wife said, no, you going. You got to knock today, too. You
Yeah.
can't stop. And I said, no, I'm going to stay at home. Your mom wants me to stay here. And I got me a chair, went there and sat down with her.
Yeah.
And that was the last day we seen her. She passed away.
Yeah.
She knowed, and she didn't want to be by herself.
Yeah.
I was sitting there.
Wow.
And it was hard.
I remember you telling me about
Yeah,
this.
that was hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure it was, man.
I didn't leave.
Yeah.
I told her I wouldn't walk out that door, and I didn't because
Yeah.
of her mom.
Yeah.
It hurts,
Yeah.
believe me. And they said that I kept her mom going for a long time because we'd always argue and cut up. I called her a gray-headed old woman, and she would call me a gray-headed old man.
Sure.
And I would tell her, I said, Miss Bryson,
Yeah.
I'm not gray-headed.
Yeah.
And she said, well, what are you? I said, well, I'm white-headed. And then she would tell me, well, you're a white-headed old man.
Yeah.
And they said that kept her going
Yeah.
a little
The
bit longer.
relationships. Yeah.
And
That's what life's about, isn't it? Right?
We had a
so
good
much
time.
of life is about the relationships. Yeah.
and I give her a hard time. They said that's what kept her going for
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
She remembered my name the day she passed. She couldn't remember my wife's name.
Yeah.
Any of her kids, she couldn't remember their name, but she
Sure.
did mine.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And they said that's why she did, because
Yeah.
I'd always aggravating her and giving her a hard time.
Yeah.
She took my recliner, and I asked her one day, I said, what are you doing to my recliner? That's mine. Well, it's mine now.
Yeah.
Well, she's 92 years old. I ain't going to throw her out,
Right.
but we had a good time.
Yeah.
But I do miss her.
Sure.
I miss my mom and dad. They both gone.
Yeah.
But I had a good time with
Yeah.
people, and I enjoyed talking to everybody.
Right.
A lot of people don't think they can come and talk to me. I wish they would.
Yeah.
I'm not that bad of a guy that people think I am. But
Yeah.
I love talking to everybody.
Yeah.
I work for everybody from one end of this county to the other.
Yeah.
That's who put me in office.
Well,
It's
kind of like
everybody
Randy
here.
was saying, right? When we talk about common sense commissioners, and Nancy said Ray seems to be an honest and fair person. very refreshing. I would echo that, Ray. And I think what people are used to is a politician who only cares about one interest group or one section or whatever, right? They're not used to someone who treats everyone. I remember because I remember when you called me up and say, "Hey, I'm doing this Saturday meeting once a month. You should come by." I was like, "He's calling me, right?" Like, because I hadn't gone out and campaigned for this guy or nothing, you know. And he's like, well, "Hey, no, you're a Navarre resident, and you know some people listen to you, so come on." Doesn't mean I'm going to tell you what you want to hear, but come on.
That's
and
true.
It's
And
amazing to see that.
I can't do everything for
Sure,
everybody,
sure.
but I try to help as much as I can.
Yeah.
There's some stuff I cannot do,
Sure.
but if I can, I will.
Yeah.
If you notice, I've cleaned up a lot in Navarre.
Yeah.
I've done probably around 200 ditches the county has cleaned out down here in Navarre for me.
Right.
I didn't clean them. The people that work for Public Works for Santa Rosa County did it.
Right.
And I've had people call me, "Hey, thank you for getting that done." They can do the same thing. All you got to do is go online and just put in what's the problem. And,
Yeah.
they usually come out. If they don't come out, then call me and I'll find out, hey, what's going on.
Yeah.
And usually they got a good reason why they hadn't
Yeah.
got there yet.
Yeah.
I do not ask them to go. If I ask them to do something, I do not ask them to go do it right then.
Yeah. One of the perspectives that really helped me, or one of like the lessons that I had about local government that helped me understand, is there's a lot of times when the person who's working at it, like yourself, whether that's a commissioner, administrator, whatever, Ron DeSantis, whomever, that person can see a whole lot. You know, they see all the different offices. You know, the staff members. You know, this guy and that girl, right? You see all of that, right? And you're seeing, okay, these people are working, trying to get this done. Then the constituent, the person, they don't see all that, but they feel their problem intently. And when there's good communication, and you're saying, hey, here's the whole process, here's all the people, and they're communicating and saying, here's what it feels like, you know, on the constituent. When y'all can talk, all of a sudden now you're sharing perspectives, and if you can hear and feel what they're feeling, it's going to help you drive processes. And if they can have the patience to understand that it ain't going to get done tomorrow because there's a lot of other stuff going on, then all of a sudden it works. And if we don't have that, it doesn't, you know?
Right. What I do with every department, when I call and ask about something to get done, I do not tell them I want it done today or tomorrow. I'll ask them, will you please put it on the list and get to it as soon as possible?
Sure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that means a lot because you ain't telling them what to do.
Right.
You're asking.
Right.
I know I didn't like to be told to do something. Hey, you asked me, I do it a whole lot quicker.
Right.
But when you demand me to do something, you might as well hang it up because it's going to take me forever to get it done.
So let's talk about some specifics, right? Get into some of the big issues that we face. This one. I live this every day, right? And so do like several thousand people going to Hurlburt on 98. But you could talk about Gulf Breeze. You could talk about 87. I mean, county-wide, there's issues. I'm sure up there in the north end they deal with this stuff. So kind of as much as you can, right? And I know we only got an hour, but help me out in understanding some of the nuts and bolts and what your perspective that you see that I don't see when it comes to traffic.
What I am proposing to do, trying to have a new bridge built. We're going to start talking about it this month at the county board meeting, the BOCC meeting. We got a company coming in to talk to us about building bridges. I have requested a 5-lane bridge and a bike lane and a walk lane across.
That'd be amazing, yeah.
And they've sent some stuff to me, and I've already said no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
They didn't put my 5th lane in, and they didn't put my bike lane in. Don't get me wrong, I don't care a lot for bikes because people get too close to them sometimes, might hit them. We got to figure out how to fix that problem, you know. We can make it wider for the walking and the bicycle. That's something we got to look at. I think they understand what I want now. I want a 5-lane, 2 over, 2 back, and a center lane for emergency traffic.
Who is they? Because that's what I think people need to understand is I hear this all the time, right? Government this. Government's all bad. Government's all bad. Well, who are you talking about, right? Like, and people from the outside of this think of government as this like big monolithic thing, but once you've worked in it, you realize there's different parts of it. So
I've had people wanting to put. People here in the bar has called me and said, "Hey, to add 2 more lanes to this bridge
Yep.
that we got. Well, I can't do that because they don't take that bridge out.
Right.
Then we'd be right back to the problem with 2 lanes again.
Yeah.
That's why I want a 5-lane bridge. I want, you know how it is, weekends. You might
Oh,
sit
sure.
on that bridge for an hour.
Right.
If we had more lanes, we can get people
And is
on the
that,
beach and off the beach.
Is it the
quicker.
Florida Department of Transportation?
Okay.
Who are we talking about? Yeah.
Florida Transportation?
Mhm.
It takes a while with them.
I'm sure it does. Yeah.
They've said it'd be 10, 12 years. You know, if they help us build a bridge,
Yeah.
contractors can do it 2 to 3 years,
I see.
and that's who we're talking to. We hadn't ruled out them or the FDOT.
So you got some options. Yeah.
Yes,
People
we
don't
do.
realize that. That's
And,
kind of what I mean. Yeah.
We can go either way.
Yeah.
Either way we go, it will be a toll on the
Right.
bridge. That's one thing we're trying to work out with the tolls.
Yeah.
They want to put 1 toll on. I said no, because we ain't gonna do that to
Right.
my people in Santa Rosa, and especially not the people live right here in Navarre.
Sure. Yeah.
We got to work out a deal with the people that lives on the beach
Yeah.
and people who work.
Right.
The tourists can pay for it.
Yeah.
If people look at it that
Yeah.
way.
Amen to that.
Well, you know, they don't be here and use it more anyway.
Sure.
And why don't we give our
Yeah.
local people a deal?
Right.
Just a little.
Yeah, because we're already paying property
Right,
taxes
yeah,
and everything
you know.
else, and utility taxes, all that stuff. Yeah, I
So
remember.
much.
I remember
Yeah.
coming down here as a high school kid, and I would drive down, and then we just stay at whatever hotel,
Right.
not necessarily, and far from the beach where it's cheaper, in Andalusia or something.
Right.
And then we come down here for the day and go back. So I remember being a tourist coming down here, being like, wow, like we just enjoyed the beach and didn't have to pay a dime
Yeah.
for it. I remember being like, that's weird, Whereas the other people who are living here, they're paying all the property taxes. So I totally agree. Like they're figuring out ways to make sure they're at least not a lot, but contributing
Right.
enough, in order to.
And they pay a lot of money on that beach
Yeah,
to live on that
yeah,
beach.
yeah.
That's why I'm trying to
Good.
try to make a deal. And County Commissioner, I think they all on board. I think the County Administrator, they all real happy about trying to get a new
Yeah.
road across there.
Yeah, see that is what a lot of people don't see. Is they don't see it takes relationships, it takes bargaining, it takes deals, it takes saying, hey, okay, we're going to use these resources, whether it's state or federal,
Right.
whatever. They think, okay, it's Highway 98, so it's not a county road, so Ray has no part in it. No, not true. Not true. He's out there working on it.
98 is a state
Yeah.
road. I'm trying to make sure they come straight from Gulf Breeze, come through here.
Yeah,
They've been talking about bypassing us and working back this way. I do not want that.
yeah,
Bring it on through.
yeah,
That's the way it should be done.
yeah.
But it's according who got the most politics. That's
Right.
how it is,
Right.
and that's why I keep in touch with some of our people in D.C.
I'm sure. Yeah,
They have helped me a lot here in the bar.
yeah,
They helped me to get the sewer thing going.
yeah.
How they set it to the side. FEMA's working with us now to replace the bricks over here at the park across the street.
I cannot wait. So, I was hoping you were going to mention that because, this I deal with every day, right? Like, and I appreciate everything that you said about that. And there's so many other projects. That one that just hits me in the heart because when I first came down here in 2017 with my family, my wife and I took our kids to the park. And that small town feel, right? Like that
Right.
you and I both experienced in Tennessee, like seeing the park with all the little kids' handprints and all that stuff. I said, "Oh, there's a community here,
Yep.
right?" Because we could have lived in Destin, we could have lived in Shalimar, Crestview, whatever.
Right.
I wanted to live in Navarre because of stuff like that. It pulled at my heartstrings because it said, "Hey, there's some love going on in this community." And when they ripped it up, and I know the park's got all kinds of new fancy stuff and the music thing, this and this little jungle gym that, but I'm so excited to see those little things. I really
They are
appreciate
coming
that you
back.
take. Yeah, I
The
appreciate you
bricks
taking
is
time for
going
that.
back out.
That's great.
They don't
That's so wonderful.
work on the pier out here.
Yeah,
Don't redo all that. But Matt Gates' office helped me get with FEMA, and we got
Good.
it going again.
Yeah.
It was 3 years it's been like that.
yeah,
I hate to say this. Mr. Gates was here for a thing over there, and he kind of tripped a little bit
okay.
on the bricks. I said, "This is my time."
There you go.
to get
There's the
some help."
bargaining.
And he said,
"We got to fix that, Matt."
and he got his office in Crestview to help me,
Yeah.
and we got FEMA on board again with us.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
We're way ahead
Yeah.
of what we did have.
Yeah.
But we do have the bricks still here. They're up at the county yard.
Yeah. That cuts right to the heart for me, and I'm excited for that one, as well as some of the others. But
Now, let
yeah,
me tell
go
you
for it.
about Highway 87.
Yeah, talk to me.
Okay, you know all the potholes.
Oh yeah.
I call every week about patching potholes.
Yeah.
They are going to resurface 87 from 98 or 399 all the way up top the hill,
Okay.
and it's coming. They did have it on a 10-year plan,
Yeah.
and I was at Chipley talking to them. And I said, we can't wait no 10 years.
Yeah.
The roads are so bad, and they moved it to 5 years. I said, we can't wait to 5 years either, and that's what we'll come and look at it. And they did.
Yeah.
They agreed with me. We're going to have it paved this year.
Good.
And it takes a while. Their first quarter is not like ours.
Sure.
Their first quarter starts in October.
Yeah.
But they said if they could move it up a little bit, they would, but they couldn't promise me. And I understand.
Right.
I didn't ask for a promise. I just asked to get it resurfaced
Yeah.
for the people here.
Yeah. And so you're doing all this, negotiating behind the scenes and working with these people to get this done. How often does it feel like you're the one that's on the hook for it, right? Like you're having to answer for a whole lot of other people that, frankly, you can't control.
No,
You know?
I can't.
Yeah.
We're going to have a red light put in at Otega this summer
Yeah.
in 98. So many wrecks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They come back and done a study. They told me, hey, we just done a study. I said, please come back. And
Yeah.
they did. And they said, you are right.
Yeah.
That does need one. And
Yeah.
I said, well, I appreciate it. Are we going to get it? They said, yes.
Awesome.
They've already done the design. Everything that's under contract
Yeah.
to have done. Laredo and 87,
Yep.
we got turn signals
Right.
that we don't have. We got turning lanes,
Right.
but we do not have no turning
Yep.
signals.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, guess what? They was approved last week.
Yeah.
We put in, and they're gonna put them in for us in probably just a few weeks,
Yeah.
and that'll be good for people on Laredo on both sides of 87.
Sure. Saving lives, man.
having
Saving
turning
lives.
lanes and turning arrows.
That's great, man. So, and then there's other fun projects, right? Like this one. So
Pickleball course.
you're gonna have to explain this to me because, like, we talked about football. I love, right? So, I know a couple other sports, basketball and track, and a few things. I don't know the first thing about pickleball. Like, I don't know if you do.
I do not know.
We did not
anything
play
about
pickleball in Memphis.
Court.
Okay.
Never played it. Didn't know anything about it till I come here. All these people come to me. Why don't we have a pickleball court? What is a pickleball court?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
And
I did not either. They're just going to educate us Tennessee boys on this
they
stuff.
have to because I don't know nothing about it. Today, we've got a fence around it. We've got sod around it today. We got a company here, a young man here wanting to put some signs on it, and it's local businesses here in the bar and stuff in Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
Because I told him if it was a company out in Santa Rosa, I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I wanted local stuff only.
Right.
And
That's
he
great.
He was all for that.
That's great, man.
But how I got this property, we did not have nowhere to put it.
Yeah.
I talked to the Holly's Fire Department up here.
Yeah.
And I asked them, I said, what are y'all going to do with this property? Well, why do you want to know? I said, would you be willing to give it back to the county so we can put a pickleball court and a bathroom?
Right.
Because they do not have a restroom, and we're going to put an ADA bathroom
Yeah.
up there. And it took a week, thought I had to have a board meeting.
Yeah.
And the chief called me, and he said, hey, we signed the deed over back to the county. Y'all can have it.
Yeah.
And that tickled me to death.
Well, see,
And now I have people call me every day. When will it be ready to play? Y'all?
I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope in 2 weeks they have it.
Yeah.
Striped and all that. We've hired a company to come in and do the striping. We are not in that business.
But see, that's representative government, right? Is you're taking something that you don't understand, and I can't help you. I wouldn't know the first thing to do about playing the sport, but you're taking something that you're not necessarily very familiar with, but that the people want.
Right.
They're very familiar with it. They want this. And you're saying, okay, teach me why this is important enough to be able to advocate and negotiate and bargain in order to get this project done to represent you for what you need and want, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's
And
representative government, man.
Everybody's happy. It's about done.
Yeah.
We've got an exercise thing over at NYSA. It's
Yeah.
already been put in. We're getting ready to put some concrete in
Yeah.
between the ball fields for the handicapped people.
Yeah.
that's in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Because you got all them humps and they're in the grass. We don't do that for the handicap, ADA stuff. We have new lights put in the parking lot at NYSA. We're putting lights in Holly for the ball field and the pickleball court
Yeah.
so they can see.
Yeah. I got Lisa Pickleball on here. She's all excited about it. She's been saying yes and awesome. Like every time you've been, I guess Lisa plays pickleball. So Lisa, you're gonna have to explain to us what pickleball is and like all that because neither of us know. So
I've had a lady from day one started on me here about pickleball court, and she's kept up with this right here in Holly.
That's great, man.
And she sent me a text yesterday. Said, "Hey, they don't put sod here tomorrow," and well, they did.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh yeah, they said they're going to stripe it in 2 weeks." And I said, "Yes, ma'am, supposed to be in 2 weeks."
So here's what frustrates me, Ray, is I see you doing projects like this. I see you being responsive to people's needs, educating yourself, and driving projects to completion. And then I see people who say government is useless all the time everywhere. That government is a terrible construct. We never should have had it to begin with. Don't need the Constitution. All politicians are terrible. None of them do anything right. And I'm like, what about like there's examples if you look. If all you look at and focus on is the negative and you ignore stuff like this, then maybe you think that. But you can't tell me that they're all useless.
No.
Like, look at that, right? Like, look at that. Look at the different things that you've done. And you're not the only one, right? Like,
No.
look at the other folks out here that are doing stuff, right, for our community. And then don't tell me that they're all terrible and
They-
all the time. Come on.
We all got projects in our district,
Yeah.
and I'm just glad mine getting pushed on through.
Yeah.
The time I've been here, I noticed in the past it seemed like we got getting overlooked on stuff.
Yeah.
Now we're getting stuff
Get some
done.
traction going. Yeah.
We're getting a lot of
Oh,
roads
100%.
paved,
I acknowledge that. Absolutely.
ditches cleaned out, holding ponds cleaned out. People's pretty happy, and then I got people unhappy.
Sure. Yeah.
I
But-
tried my best to do what I can do.
I know you
for
did.
people.
What's amazing to me is seeing these examples that happen and being able to point at that and saying, hey, let's look at what made this work. Because a lot of times I think people are used to being told, hey, I'm going to get this done, and then nothing ever happens.
Right.
And they don't know why because they don't see what's going on behind the scenes.
Well,
But if people can understand, well, how did Ray get this done? What did he do to achieve that? You've talked about it, relationships, being persistent, not treating people like crap,
Crap.
but honoring them and working with them and being patient with them. Those principles make it successful, right?
right.
And
Well,
keeping and being focused. That was the other one. Sorry, I'm
Well,
trying to capture everything you
let me
said.
tell you.
Yeah.
People don't be happy here in Navarre in a couple more years.
Yeah.
What's coming to the beach? We got a big project coming. Been in the making for a long time, but nobody would push it
Yeah.
till now. I like the project. I got on board. Now I pushed it. Now it's already in design.
Yeah.
I think everybody will be very happy with what comes to this beach. And they're going to say, we should have had this years ago.
Right.
Well, they should have,
Yeah.
but nobody pushed it.
Right.
Now I'm on board, and now I'm pushing.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful how you push. You got to
Exactly
be
right.
a way to talk to them.
Exactly right.
And if you come to Milton and go to any office in Milton and ask them how I treat them, you won't hear one bad word.
Yeah.
Every day I'm in Milton, I go to each office and say hello to them. Y'all have a good day.
Yeah.
Y'all need anything, please come and see me or call me.
Yeah.
And when I first started that, they didn't know how to take me.
Yeah.
But now, if I don't show up, they think something's wrong.
Yeah.
Now, I usually, if I'm not there, I always try to tell them, hey, I won't be here tomorrow, or I'm gone for a week for school or something like that. Okay, we will not look for you.
Yeah.
And it's got a good relationship with everybody up there.
So we're making an argument that the principles that you're talking about tend to work almost everywhere
It
with
does.
everyone. I'm going to give you two examples. One you're going to like, I predict, and the other one you're going to hate. The first one would be the guys running restaurants around here, Andy D's and Robert Reyes and a bunch of the other ones. Those restaurants that are hopping, it's because those guys are there all the time working on it. And if you watch how they operate, every customer that's coming in that they can talk to, they will. They recognize people the minute that they walk in. Oh, hey, yeah, like, haven't seen you in a minute. How you doing? We got a great special going on today. Hey, let me see if they can whip up another one for you. You know, they're sitting there talking to people as they come in, wholly invested and passionate about what they do.
Well,
right?
When
I
I'm
see
here,
that.
when I'm here in the bar working 2 days a week down here,
Yeah.
I don't get to work 2 days every week. If we have a BOCC meeting, I got to be in Milton that day, and I don't come down. But I try to go to different restaurants. Like today, I was at right across the bridge.
Yeah.
I ate at that one.
Yeah.
But I do swap around.
Yeah.
That way they can't say, well, your
Sure.
favorite to one.
Yeah.
No, I go to every restaurant in the bar.
I see those guys at the restaurants doing the same thing you're doing, focused on relationships,
Yes.
pushing their staff, but not running them into the ground, right? Trying to figure out how to make things better. I see that. I also see the head coach of Alabama doing that. So you're going to have to watch out for that. Okay. They said about Kalen DeBoer, he's the new head coach for Alabama. I'm an Alabama fan, and I know you're not.
Either.
But they said, how are we going to have this guy come from Washington to coach at Alabama? And all the Alabama fans said, well, he knows people. He knows people. He can come down here, right, to Alabama in the South, completely different place, but because he's very relational, he knows how to listen, he knows how to work with people, he knows how to push them, he knows how to honor them, he can translate his skills. So we'll see. I don't know if he's going to beat y'all this year, but
I don't
we'll
think
see.
so.
But it's the same concept, Ray, as somebody who's coming from Chattanooga can take the skills that you've applied, and then you can come down here, and over time it's going to work. 'Cause that's what I hear you doing. I hear you bring in the experiences that you had, right? And again, it must have been hard, man, to leave what you'd known for over 60 years, but then coming down here and saying, wow, I can make people happy doing the same things that worked up there.
Right.
It's just a little different. It's a Florida
It
flavor.
is.
It's not a Tennessee flavor.
You
it's
got
cool,
to
man.
thank everybody for what they do.
Yeah.
Thank goes a long way. It does.
It does.
Uh,
Yeah.
I've heard people say, nobody ever thanked us till you come in here.
With the county staff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said,
Yeah.
I'm sorry they didn't, but
Yeah.
that's the way I was born and raised.
Right.
By thanking people for what they do, speaking to people. I do some stuff for my staff. I'm getting ready to do a thing for everybody up there at the county building
Yeah.
coming in June. I can't say what I'm doing, but it's not just me doing it.
Yeah.
We got some people on board with me to do it.
Sure.
And
The staff appreciation stuff.
it is. They couldn't believe we're going to do this. They said, we've never had this done.
Yeah.
Well, we want to show our appreciation to
Yeah.
y'all, what y'all do for
Yeah.
us. And that goes a long way. It really does.
So let me ask you a question. What time, I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but what time typically do you get in the office when you go up there?
Sometimes by 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because you've called me at like 6:30 sometimes. I was like, I'm still waking up. That's amazing. So you're up there at 6 o'clock before probably anybody else.
I'm there. There's one guy in IT, and usually he gets there just a little bit before I do.
Yeah.
I have beat him there. Sometimes I have got there at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I do get out in the morning, and I try to ride my district, and I try to look and see what needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
I've had people have called and complained to me, do you think it's right for a commissioner to turn you in? And I asked, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And, well, my place needed to be cleaned up. And I said, well, yeah, they got the right to do that because they're a taxpayer.
Right. Right.
I said, where are you at? And the lady told me. I said, yeah, yes, ma'am, that was me. I turned you in. And she said, well, I know you did. I just want to see if you'd be honest and tell me it was you. I said, yeah. I said, they had to tell you.
Yeah.
And I turn a lot in every day. This week I hadn't turned a lot in, but I told code enforcement, I said, I'm trying to let you get caught up on all my stuff that I've turned in.
Right.
I said, be ready for me next week because I'm already been out riding and I've already got stuff wrote down that I want cleaned up.
Yeah.
I don't like to go in neighborhood and it look trashy
Sure.
because I know other people don't like it.
Yeah.
Their place is not trashed up. And usually you give them so many days and they're pretty good about cleaning it up. That's all you got to do. Be nice to them, ask them to clean it up.
Well, there's a lot there. Persistence, integrity, right? Willing to tell people the truth even if it's not what they want to hear. There's a lot of that stuff. I was thinking, the reason I asked you about the whole getting up early question is another, like, just one of my heroes, General Mattis.
Yes.
I had, one of my commanders worked directly for him, and she would tell me he would get there every morning at like around 5:15, 5:30. He'd go for a run and stuff like that, and then while his clothes were in the wash, he'd go into talk to different people in the Pentagon, and he just finds some young soldier or airman or whatever, and he just spend about 20 minutes or whatever talking to him about their life. And it's the Secretary of Defense talking to, like, the lowest ranking person he could find, just to say, hey, what you're doing is valuable, and teach me your perspective. What do you see? Right? Because he sees it from the higher level
view of what he sees, and that's how I am.
How empowering is that? To have like somebody like a legend coming over to your desk, just saying, hey, how you doing? Just want to know that you're valuable.
Right.
Teach me about what you do. Like that builds that buy-in. Talking about love that, man.
You got to be nice to everybody.
Absolutely. All right, so let's go through some comments because there's been quite a few in this. So we got Miss Cavey on here. She said that it was a beautiful story. I think talking about kind of your history and stuff in Chattanooga, and then coming here. Nancy talked about how you're working for all the people. We need more of that. I totally agree. Lisa said, thank you for your time and easygoing wisdom. I totally agree with that. Like, you've definitely got a whole lot of wisdom packed into what you're saying, in a way that's easy to understand, and people see that the more they get to know you. Look at Chaz is on here. He said, thank you for your commitment to our country and our community. Joe Cooper, he's helped you, I think, with some of your Saturday stuff. He said, Ray is the man for the job. He might not agree on everything, but he cares, and that's what you want to see. 100%.
He done a cleanup down here on.
He did, yeah.
And I'll tell you, Mr. Wright, Commissioner District 5, was there to help, and his daughter.
Yep.
Carrie Smith comes down in District 2.
Yeah, that was a good day. Yeah, even and in the rain too. I remember.
We had quite a few people. Yeah. That's like I told you earlier. I like to do something in neighborhoods.
Yeah. That'd be a good project.
If people need grass cutting, stuff like that, reach out to Joe Cooper or somebody, and I'll be glad to help. I go once a month up on the north end, Chumucka up there, and I help with a food bank.
Yeah.
That's not my church up there.
Right.
But I go up there and help them because they asked me 2 years before I ever got elected about coming up there and helping, and I've been there ever since.
Yeah.
Only time I don't show up if I'm out of town from school or something like that.
Sure.
But I enjoy helping, and I enjoy doing stuff for kids.
Yeah. Yeah, and people see that, right? They do. Joe says being fair doesn't mean agreeing. It means listening to the people, and Commissioner Eddington does that. Totally agree. Joe gave us a lot of, he's dropping wisdom himself. He said the community needs to understand how budget authorities work and how that money is distributed. In government, what is decided on today takes a year to 3 or 5 and maybe 10 to execute the funding to fulfill a program. Right? There's some experience right there of that. You're doing this short-term stuff. You're putting the tiles back in to the park, but you're also planning out that bridge, which could be 2 years or more, but you're planning it out. And a lot of people don't understand that. They don't realize how much it actually takes and the momentum that has to be built. Lisa said, thank you for cleaning up Navarre. And then Jersey Jerry's on here. Everybody knows Jersey Jerry. He said, Mr. Eddington, a man of the people. Keep on keeping on. Well, that's awesome. So, man, I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure, absolutely. So we do this show every Thursday, so I love having people like yourself on here. You are welcome anytime, man. Anytime you got some big projects or stuff that, you want the word out, we're happy to do that, and what we're doing with this show falls right in line with that kind of stuff. So we do this every Thursday night at 7 p.m., looking for locals that we can highlight in what we're doing. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube. We're on Facebook, Instagram, a whole bunch of that social media stuff you don't have to worry about. So we're on it. It's probably good to take a break from that stuff every once in a while for sure. But we're on there. You can also go on our website, preservenavarre.com, get involved. But I can't wait to see you out and about, man, doing more projects. I know we've got some meetings coming up, and I'll see you there for sure. But this is the important stuff, right? No matter what happens with the future of Navarre and all that kind of stuff, it's that relationship, the wisdom, the principles that that we can all agree on, and treating people the way that Jesus would, treating people the way you want to be treated. I mean, that's at the heart of it.
That's the part of it. You've got to treat everybody the same.
That's right. Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I ain't gonna treat you no different.
Yeah. And the patience it takes to do that. I think I got a lot to learn from you on that. So I got some more years to work on that, but I'm trying, man. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a model citizen for us, man. And I appreciate your time today.
Thank you for
having me.
All right.
Y'all have a great night. We'll see you next Thursday with our next guest. See ya.